Hello and welcome to episode 120 of the HamCorp Training Manual. In this episode, we will set up the first Mark III compact fusion reactor and finish the entire plasma power chain in one go. However, we will primarily be using this not for power, but for crafting. We also craft the UEV energy hatch and space assembler. Oh yeah, compact fusion. All done and all wired up and everything. So the thing with compact fusion is the amount of EU that you use per energy hatch is fixed. Yes, you can use laser hatches and multi-amp hatches and whatever, but there's no benefit to doing that because there's no benefit to providing more than this amount of EU per tick. This amount of EU per tick is about, I think it's exactly 1.5 amps of UHV. So I've just used UHV energy hatches everywhere, and there are 32 in total. So 48 amps of UHV is what the total requirement is, and these hatches can do up to 64. The cable can only do up to 48, but that's fine. I'm supplying these 48 amps with 3 16 amp dynamo hatches, and then this active transformer is powered through laser. I'll do some shenanigans to make it look like it belongs there. Now this thing is fast. The number of parallels you get depends on the startup cost of the recipe. So the super early recipes like duranium and helium-3 and stuff are super fast because I get a whole 192 parallels with this thing. It's also really big, and I always thought it was funny because it's called compact fusion, but it's so big. But it is compact compared to 48 fusion reactors. You know, this is a lot less space than 48 fusion reactors. But anyway, let's do a quick little test run to see how fast this is. Let's throw in some gallium and some radon, and this should make duranium. This is operating at 12 million EU per tick, and it's making a whole 3 buckets per second. Almost 4 buckets per second. That is significantly faster. This is so much faster. This feels good. That said, compared to other fluids, it's still, I dare say, a little bit slow. So making multiple fusion reactors, or compact fusion reactors rather, is probably not the worst idea in the world. Anyway, for now, I'm happy with this. I will hook it up with AE2 and have recipes and stuff. But yeah, nice. Now, I'm pretty happy with where my infrastructure is. And if I find any deficits, for example, I think the Naquata line is a bit slow right now. But if I find anything that's like prohibitively slow, then I'll upgrade it. But for now, I think it's time to get back into progression. I would like to make the optical circuits. These are required for the end goal of this tier, which is the DTPF, the Dimensionally Transcendent Plasma Forge. We'll get to that. First, for now, my immediate goal is to make the optical mainframe. This needs quite a few steps along the way, including tier 7 water. And by the end of this tier, we'll also be doing tier 8. But right this moment, I'm going to make a space assembler module. This is not too expensive, just some UHV parts, some UV assemblers and UV circuit assemblers, also some Mark III high computation stations, which are fine. The research for this is a precise auto assembler controller, so that's also not a problem at all. And once I have the space assembler, it's basically just an assembling machine. Some of these recipes are ones that I can already make with a normal assembler or maybe an assembly line. But using the space assembler is either cheaper or it streamlines the process to just be one step. Or maybe in some cases it's faster. I haven't actually checked. I'm going to make this, set this up, and I will be right back. The space assembler is probably the simplest space module. It has nothing. It's just number of parallels, and that's it. And you can feed in items and fluids through input buses and hatches, and they don't have to be in order or anything. So you can just dump them all in, and you get your stuff out. Truly the simplest module. Before I can use it, I need to first make some optical circuit boards, and these are done exclusively in a PCB factory. I upgraded mine to tier 2 recently, so I will be doing this recipe. Nothing too crazy here. Some Tairitsu we've seen before. Infinity catalyst, chromatic glass, mysterious crystal. Yeah. So if this is supposed to be a circuit board that uses photons instead of electrons, shouldn't this be called photonics? Anyway, while I have this space assembler, I can't really use it yet, because the next quest, which is the first one that actually absolutely needs the space assembler, this can't quite be done yet, because it needs photonically enhanced wafers, which need at least grade 7 water. So I need to do the water line first. And that means I need to do UEV superconductors. And UEV superconductors need infinity pipes, UEV pumps, helium as always, awakened draconium, infinity dust, advanced nitinol dust, and celestial tungsten dust. And also some iron plasma. So now that I have the compact fusion, things should progress a lot faster. And while I can make celestial tungsten in a laser engraver, and also nitinol 60 from the blocks, also in a laser engraver, I probably shouldn't. It's probably better for me to do fusion. So I can get celestial tungsten from celestial tungsten plasma, and also I can turn this into power, which is something I'll think about. If this is a significant amount of power, this might be worth it, but I know that setting this up might be a lot of infrastructure that I don't know if that's really worth it for me. But anyway, the plasma is made from molten tartarite and advanced nitinol plasma, so this also solves advanced nitinol along the way. Tartarite I can get from a void miner on Seth or one of these tier 8 planets. Surprisingly, I can't get it from space mining, which is a bit annoying, but it is what it is. And advanced nitinol plasma is made from runite plasma and xenon plasma. This might be a long chain. It is a little bit long, but I can pattern all of these and it should be fine. Advanced nitinol plasma comes from xenon plasma and runite plasma. Xenon plasma comes from molten curium and americium plasma. And both of these come from molten plutonium-241 with either hydrogen or helium. Meanwhile, runite plasma comes from astral titanium plasma and molten titan steel. The astral titanium comes from krypton plasma and force plasma. Krypton plasma comes from niobium plasma and zinc plasma. And these two I can make with molten metals and some tritium. Meanwhile, the force plasma comes from molten arcanite, which I can make, and neon plasma, which is from boron plasma and calcium plasma, both of which I can make. So this is totally doable. It's all super easy to do. I just need to set up the recipes here so that I can actually get this done. And if I make the batch sizes large enough, it won't be too wasteful with the EU startup cost of fusion. So this, I guess, is a bit of an infrastructure check. Is one Mark III compact fusion reactor enough? I guess we'll see. I also need to make the ultimate circuit assembling machine, the UHV circuit assembler. This is fine. I can do this. The only reason I really need this is to make the optical processor, the first one, so that I can put it in a cal. I don't know why this quest is all the way back here. I'm pretty sure I don't need this to actually do grade 7 water, but I guess we'll see. So, superconductors and the circuit assembler. One thing to note about making the UEV superconductor base ingots, it needs a heat capacity of 11,800, which would be hypogen, and it would be pretty easy to get that if you had infinity coils as well, but those are really expensive for me right now. But luckily, there's a way to get around this. So, this Mega Blast Furnace has awakened draconium coils and a 256 amp UV laser target hatch, which means it has a heat capacity of 11,801. So I can do it, and I don't need to upgrade my coils. The lower blast furnace, of course, won't be able to do it, which means I should probably upgrade the coils and the energy hatch there as well. And also, making the UEV wire is a UEV recipe, but I don't have these energy hatches yet, so I can't do it in the precise assembler, which means I need to tier skip using the large-scale auto assembler, at least for the first time. I didn't realize this before, but celestial tungsten is the end of the plasma chain. This is on the how to generate power page. So I pretty much have to go through all of these quests, and I may as well. And also, converting celestial tungsten plasma into molten celestial tungsten, which is what I actually need. There's two ways I can see that I can do this. One of them is to vacuum freeze it. I don't think I should do this. Like, yes, it's fast and whatever, but look at the dense supercritical steam. This is just power. And this isn't going to be my main power source. I'm a knack fuel fiend, as you all know. So this is a recipe I think I'm going to pattern, maybe? Or something like that. And basically anytime I make celestial tungsten plasma, it's going to be sent into an extreme heat exchanger and turned into molten celestial tungsten. And I'll get a shit ton of dense supercritical steam. And this I can run through turbines. But I don't need to do it all at once. I can store the steam and then just send it to the turbines when I need it. The only thing is I need 101 million liters of distilled water per second. That's a lot. The extreme heat exchanger explodes if it runs out of distilled water. So, yeah, I am going to pattern this recipe, which is so weird. That feels so weird to do, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to reuse the solar tower setup, or rather, I'm going to repurpose this extreme heat exchanger because this setup isn't really running anymore. It's not doing anything. It's basically just decoration at this point, and not even the best decoration in the world. Anyway, I'm going to repurpose this thing, and I'm going to sort out my distilled water supply, and I'm going to make a nice big fluid storage cell to store all my dense supercritical steam. And at some point, I'll get around to putting down some turbines, probably just like in here or something. Oh wait, they're going to have to be extra large, aren't they? I don't know, I'll figure something out, and then those will just run whenever my power gets low, and it's going to burn the supercritical steam. And if I run out of supercritical steam, it doesn't matter because I have knack fuel. So that's my plan. I have moved my extreme heat exchanger here, and what I'm doing to deal with the water supply thing is basically I have a stocking input hatch pulling distilled water. And I thought maybe it's okay to just leave that like that. But then I realized that if I shut down my server and restart it while something is going on in this, I don't know, like this could go offline for a second, my ME system I mean, and then it wouldn't have water anymore because of that, and then this would explode. And also if I'm doing some weird like wireless reconnecting stuff to different things and I don't realize, this could explode again. Basically anytime this connection is disrupted, it's a risk. So what I did instead is I also have this interface. It's stocking water. I don't know why I'm doing it on all sides. It doesn't really need to be on all sides. Basically, I am using a fluid regulator to pull distilled water into the super tank, and then another fluid regulator to push into an input hatch there. And this is kind of my fail-safe water supply. So if the network goes down, there's still like an analog supply of water that's going to work. That said, this is not a lot of water. I need 101 million per second, remember, for celestial tungsten plasma, so maybe I should replace this with like a quantum tank or something. I don't know. On top of all that, I have some redstone logic so that this thing is only on when I have enough water in my storage system and when I have anything at all in this input hatch. So only then will the machine turn on. Until then, it's off. What this means is the efficiency isn't going to be 100% all the time, so actually I get less dense supercritical steam than what I expect. But I don't really care. Anyway, like you just saw, I've made the UEV energy hatch, and this means I can make the tier 7 water purification controller block because it needs a 64 amp UEV energy hatch. It also needs some other stuff, mostly infinity, some circuits, more infinity, a lot of infinity. The scan is, as usual, a cell of the previous tier. And yeah, cool. Easy. This is my favorite looking multi in the whole waterline. And what I need here is bedrockium frame boxes, heat-resistant trinium-plated casing, which I've made before, but it needs ultimate voltage coils and osmiridium, so it's a bit pricey, but whatever. I have to do this, so I will do this. And also omni-purpose infinity fused glass. This needs infinity, and it needs the electron permeable neutronium coated glass from tier 6 water, or grade 6 water. But this is actually alright. Besides that, the degasser control hatch, some UHV parts, UHV circuit, infinity, nothing too special. This is a very interesting waterline problem. So I think I'll craft it up and maybe build it, but I will automate it in the next episode because it's a little involved. Okay, you know what? Actually, one thing I need to do first, seriously, is to automate infinity catalyst and diamond generation because I am tired of setting my miners to these things manually. So I'm just going to make 2 more miners, one for infinity catalyst and one for diamonds, and I'm going to do a similar setup to what I've done for the salt and saltpeter stuff. So I think that is going to be much more convenient for me than to constantly be setting the mining distance to 2 different distances. That's going to be a lot more work though, because there's a much larger variety of ores I can get, and I'm not even sure what they all are, so I'm kind of going to have to let it run for a bit without processing it, just to see what I get. Or I can check out the spreadsheet and try to figure it out like that. But either way, I'm going to set that up before I continue on making the grade 7 water controller. Oh, and one more thing I can do with the space mining module that I kind of forgot about is I can provide different plasmas to get overdrive, remember? And what that does is it boosts the ore output and the processing speed, I believe. So there's kind of no reason to not use it. There's quite a few different plasmas I can use. The best one is plutonium-241 plasma. This needs a Mark V reactor, unfortunately, so I can't make this. But what I can make is radon plasma. This is Mark III, so I can totally do this in large quantities. The wiki also mentions technetium plasma, but I don't see a way to get that, because technetium plasma exists in the game, but it's a bit weird. There doesn't seem to be a recipe to make it. So radon plasma is going to be what I'm going to use. I get a 20% time discount and a 12.5% size multiplier. That's pretty good. Alrighty, tritium plated casings are done. Omnipurpose glass is done. And grade 7 water controller is done. Next episode, I will put that thing together. Thank you for watching this episode of the HamCorp Training Manual. In the next episode, we will set up and automate grade 7 water. This one seems to be quite challenging, on par with grade 5, or maybe just a little bit easier to execute, even if it's harder to understand. Exciting! See you next time.